Hello and welcome to Creatures of the Realm. Tonight I was going to have a open forum, but I had a couple people um, vote on what type of creature you want me to go over tonight. And tonight we're going to go over the Demogorgon. And the Demogorgon, it has a lot of history, um, film, in of course Dungeons and Dragons, but it has an expansive history. We're going to go over some things. Not all of it, but some things tonight. Um, Everything is going to be dedicated to the Demogorgon. It is by far one of the centralized creatures for Dungeons and Dragons and your campaigns, if you choose so. Before that, I want to thank folks who just voted, and it's fantastic. Reed, thank you very much for voting and picking Demogorgon, and that's exactly what we're going to do this evening. So, before we get into that, tomorrow night, we streamed back to back last week and this week. The reason being is next week is my birthday and so forth, and I wanted that week to take a little break, but we will be back on June 6th after tomorrow night at 7 p.m. episode 10 of the campaign. So be there and have a blast. Thank you very much on Twitch for joining us, and YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, Kick, all the platforms that I stream on. And it's always nice to hear from you. And like I said, it's always good to, comment, and I'll go ahead and try to get to you as soon as I can. Anyways, let's get to this episode. The Demogorgon. The Demogorgon has been in film. Stranger Things, we all know that. It's also been in literature. It's been in a lot of different aspects of our lives, believe it or not. We're going to go over what is a Demogorgon. Specifically, it's evil incarnate. It is the creme de la creme of evil. We all know who the main bad guy is in hell. Well, the Demogorgon is one of those bad guys. Of course, there is a leadership of demons, so we're not going to get into all that stuff, but we're going to get into what is a Demogorgon. He is associated with the underworld, and also has a little bit of Greek mythology. Believe it or not, back in 1898, there was a manuscript that was written, but the historian, the art historian, John Zesnik, has stated that Demogorgon is a grammatical. I can't say it. A grammar issue, an error. But the Demogorgon itself is to become a god, according to translation. Now, John Milton in Paradise Lost 2 in 966, Demon of Hell. If you want to go back and look for yourself, it's fantastic stuff. And a Mexican writer, Bernardo del Babueno, if I, messed up the pronunciation, I'm so sorry if I did. But Bernardo published a book in Spain in 1624, and that book is very, very cool. It's a passage, and the Demogorgon is in it, that a fairy visits a Demogorgon in hell. But again, cool stuff. It's also a central character in Plato's Dream in 1756. Cool stuff. I mean, come on, guys. This creature, this demon, is very, very, magnificent and very popular. In 1851, you remember y'all remember the novel Moby Dick? It was mentioned, and there's a piece, there's an insert in there that the white whale they called a Demogorgon. Again, the Demogorgon being demon. And you know, in Moby Dick, how that whale portrayed itself. So, there you go. But of course, I wanted to bring up some things a little different about what's cool about the Demogorgon and a little bit of literature in here, because not just for fantasy geeks and movie geeks like myself, I wanted to bring a little bit of literature in there. The first appearance of the Demogorgon is in Eldritch Wizardry in 1976. And by you old school gamers like myself, that is the first appearance of the Demogorgon. You know, Gary Gygax, his family, his friends. There you go. And then finally, let's flash forward a little bit to 2016 and then the present time. So 2016, of course, is Stranger Things. We know where that all comes from. So now that we went over the literature part of it, a whopping 11 minutes part of it, let's go over the Dungeons & Dragons Demogorgon. What makes it so fantastic and so dangerous? Now, if you remember Stranger Things, a Demogorgon can manipulate you through the mind, make you do things you don't want to do, stuff like that. But let's take a look at the monster manual. Let's take a look what the Prince of Demons, what this chaotic evil, huge being does. Okay, so you're looking at his stats, folks, and his intelligence is about a 20. Constitution, very beefy, 26. Strength, very strong, 29. And of course, this massive creature, as you can see in the picture, he is very, very big. He's got true sight, which is 120 feet. And we're not going to get in what every ability is, but true sight is fantastic. For you D&D geeks, we all know what that is. And true sight, believe it or not, is really, really good. Especially if you have a creature that has it. And if you are using that creature in your campaign, that demon, that is one thing that is magnificent about that Demogorgon. All right, so let's take a look at its strongest ability. Strongest ability is strength, number 1. Next up, we have charisma. Then constitution, charisma. Remember, it's beefy, then charisma. Because of spells, you have your intelligence, and finally wisdom, and then dexterity. Let's take a look at its immunities, damage immunities. Poison, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. Basically non-magical stuff, folks. Damage resistance to cold, fire, and lightning. Cool stuff. Alright, so I'm going to make sure that nobody is in chat. Alright, I'm just checking. Let's go back. So, what makes this Demogorgon so devious? For one, it's an old school big bad, and don't use this guy until the end of your campaign or close to the end of your campaign. With an armor class of 22 natural armor and 464 hit points. Now again, this is standard from the monster manual. Alright, so you're looking at challenge rating of 26 and 90,000 experience points. Wow. Alright, so right now he's got advantages on saving throws, magic resistance, any magical spells, he makes a save, he's got advantage. What does that mean? You roll twice, you take the highest, you roll, there you go. And if it was disadvantage, it would be the lowest. But we're not going to get into that. 2 heads. Got 2 heads. And Demogorgon has advantage on saving throws, being blinded, deafened, stunned, or knocked unconscious. Again, those are the things that makes it powerful. Again, you saw that in the show, right? How it extended its tentacles and how it just grabbed on, latched onto somebody. And you saw this massive thing in the shadow. But Demogorgon in Stranger Things is a little different. We're going to get over that. We're going to go over that in a second. And what the difference is. Okay, the picture you're looking at is the Demogorgon from Dungeons and Dragons. Multi-attack, 2 tentacle attacks, plus 17 to hit. Folks, ooh, wow, excuse me. I don't have my 20-sided one here, but I got it back there. You're all 20-sided, and what are your chances of getting a 1, right? Well, you will get a 1, but if you have a 15 with a plus 17 to hit, you are going to hit. There is no miss. Unless you get a 1, which is a critical failure. Alright, so you have your tentacle attack, plus 17 to hit, 10 feet of reach. If the target is a creature, it must succeed on a DC 23 con save, or its hit points max is reduced by the amount equal to the damage taken. Folks, this big bad can do some damage. So you're looking at a tentacle attack, and it will reduce your hit point maximum. The reduction lasts until the target finishes a long rest. Okay. You're in combat. Target dies if the hit point max is reduced to 0. Yes. Very deadly. Deadly. Gaze. Again, in the show, magical gaze. 120 feet. Target must succeed a 23 wisdom save. Again, 23 is high. And then I choose 1 or roll d6. I like to roll because it's fun. Beguiling gaze. The target is stunned. Confusing gaze. The target suffers the effects of confusion, which is very bad combat. And then a 5 and a 6. Hypnotic gaze. The target is charmed. And charm is not a good thing as well, because the Demogorgon chooses how the charmed target uses its action, reaction, and These are all the little rules that you have for any character. Spellcasting. At will, this guy, this demon, this chaotic evil Demogorgon can detect damage, major image. You can disguise yourself. And 3 a day, you can dispel magic, fear, and telekinesis. 3 a day. 1 a day, feeble mind and project image. He's fantastic with all these illusionary spells. Yes, because I come from the school of illusion. Alright, so you have your gaze, you have your tail attack, which, by the way, does massive damage. And a cast a spell costs 2 actions. And this dude already has multi-attack. But if he casts a spell, that's all he gets. And don't forget the legendary action. This guy, this Demogorgon, can pack a punch. I used them in my campaign 1. In season 1 of the show, where we played Dungeons and Dragons, I had a 5 or 6 part arc where the Demogorgon was in there, because the guys made it to about level 15, somewhere around there, and you have 6, 7 guys that are high level. It was fun to watch. It was. It's fun to run too, but they had a blast. So let's take a look here. It has 2 heads. It has a tail attack, and it has a gaze. It casts spells, and in the show, a lot of the magic that you saw from the Demogorgon is that. Now, what makes this Demogorgon different? You're looking at the picture, and you don't remember seeing that in the show, but the show had something called the Deep Cyan, or I'm sorry, the Monster Manual has something called a Deep Cyan. And this creature, this monstrosity, is chaotic evil, and Deep Cyan emerges from the depths in service to their underwater master, which is a Kraken. So, but if you look, this Deep Cyan has the teeth and the face kind of opening up. You have the skin peeling to the left and to its right, and you can see the teeth again, seeing that look that you got in Stranger Things. You know, which the guys call Demogorgon, which is a centralized bad guy for the show. Let's take a look at the layer. What makes this guy really bad? The layer, it's in the abyss. It's called the Gaping Maw. The Demogorgon's lair is a place of confusion and duality. And the portions of the palace that lies above water takes the form of 2 serpentine towers, each crowned by a skull-shaped minaret. They are Demogorgon's heads. They're mysteries of the arcane while arguing about how best to obliterate their rivals. So they're kind of like speaking to each other. So that gives you an idea of how powerful this thing is. when it starts to complement or contemplate things before people or characters, adventurers enter its lair. Why would you go there? I don't know, but if you ever do, holy cow. On initiative count 20, losing initiative ties. Demogorgons can take one of the following layer actions. Darkness. Cast darkness spell 4 times targeting different areas. Very, very dangerous. Because not a lot of people have oh yeah, light. Light can't see. Darkness is the magic that can be implemented to dilute light or anything that's not that can see through darkness. Illusionary duplicate. He creates an illusion of himself. Very cool. In his lair. And then you have the regional effects. Beguiling Realm. Within 6 miles of a lair, all charisma, persuasion, and performance checks has disadvantage. Very cool. Frenzied Animal. Beasts within 1 mile of a lair become frenzied. Can you imagine? Venomous Beasts. The area within 6 miles of the lair becomes overpopulated with poisonous snakes. Wow. If the Demogorgon dies, these effects fade. In the course of 1d10 days. I think I have a little bit of a cold. Sorry. And that happens. So, going over the Dungeons and Dragons aspect of the Demogorgon, what do you guys think? Let me go in the chat. Would you use the Demogorgon? I think it's pretty cool. Imagine in season 1, I had that arc, and I had the Demogorgon change into a young boy, and he was messing with the mind, and it was really, really cool how it happened, how the game progressed, and how the Demogorgon used the player characters. And once they're used that way, they're fantastic. The character, anything to do with an illusion is really cool. When you can create an illusion and have the players in one room, and then all of a sudden the player character is trying to figure out what's going on, and you see this young boy, and the young boy tells him, "Hey, I need help," and one of them approaches, and a tentacle comes out, and whoosh, grabs one of the characters. So when something like that happens, it's fun. It's a holy shit moment, and that's what you want in your games. You want you want danger, you want stakes, and you want the Demogorgon, that's what we're talking about, to be there, but to be there, don't use his main ability. Don't just use him sparingly. If they're approaching a portion of your of a combat sequence, and you know it's going to be combat, have other creatures there, have undead, cannon fodder, whatever, and then have the Demogorgon play around, do the illusionary effects, use your charm, use your confusion that you have. Already they have swords and they think, oh wait, magic is the only thing that's really going to do major damage, because it is immune to all these things. And immune means immune. You are immune completely to charm, exhaustion, frighten, and poison. Boom, period. Damaging units. Piercing, slashing, that is not magical, will not do damage. A lot of players in games forget about that. Oh, wait a second, I'm going to use my sword. Shit, doesn't work. Of course it's not going to work, because it's damaging. A resistance in the game, it's half damage. So if he's resistant, it's going to be half damage. That's the way it works. He's not going to be totally immune is immune. Resistance is half damage. Just remember that. So Demogorgon is going to travel, or it's going to be in his lair. Let's say that I do not know why the player characters would be in an area where Demogorgon has a lair. In the game, the Demogorgon was not in his lair. It was somewhere else. He was projecting his mind somewhere else. And he kind of drew players to that location. And then, little by little, he was attacking little snippets here and there. And then he came out. And when you do that, it's a massive strike. But the player characters were high level. They weren't level 8 or 7 or even 5. Those are low level characters. But when you play a demon, especially of this way, it's massive. Especially when he's resistant and he's immune. Legendary actions. He has the gaze, the beguiling gaze, and the confusion gaze. Take a look at what the beguiling gaze does. The target is stunned until the start of the Demogorgon's next turn. So, let's say you have 6 characters and 3 of them are stunned. You lost 3 in that short time, but it's a big loss because if he uses a legendary action, because he can use 2, he can use it after someone else's turn. So you have 6 players, and player 1 and player 2 and 3 are all subject to his gaze. Guess what? After their turn, before the next player uses a legendary action, which is a tail attack. That is a free hit, basically. And if they're stunned, if they're like, oh, I can't move, whatever, the other players are going to have to get them out of combat. And it's deadly because Demogorgon its tail could come out and boom, hit him. Now, is it a blast to use this type of demon? Yes. I like using demons in my game. Because they're evil, they're fun to use, and you can really manipulate a situation. And I like the manipulation part. I love that. I love that more than combat. Because it's an unsettling moment. And in that moment, you step back and you look at what's going on. And then when the creature hits you, you realize, I just got hit. I got hit pretty hard. So my hit points were 50, and now 150, and now they're 40 with one swooping hit. Something's going on. His damage rating, his tail attack alone. Look, 2d10 necrotic damage. That's just a huge attack. And that's bludgeoning damage. Now, what makes this Demogorgon interesting? Is it the tail attack? Is it the massive damage? No. It's the amount of spells that he can use. It's the trickery, the illusions that makes a Demogorgon a Demogorgon. And if you remember in the show, he was used well. Well, he was the one with the ripped face and the teeth went blah, 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 and they started to run. That was Demogorgon. This guy, big bad, and this thing's massive. And when you use him in that way, you're going to get a good effect. Don't just bring him out there and attack everybody. No, don't do that. Use him sparingly at first. A little bit here and there. A little bit of illusion here and there. And then, where you least expect it, have him do his thing. But the Demogorgon, what makes him so good is those spells, that trickery. I love that. I absolutely love it. The gaze. That gaze that he has, it's a magical gaze, 120 feet. That's huge. And if you fail, check, which is a wisdom saving throw. It's roll 6, and you can get nailed with all these abilities that he has. And spells. It's 2 actions, but if he'll hit you with a major image, and that is 120 feet range as well. So you can create a large image, and this thing is very real to you. So telekinesis, 60 feet. When its mind is just grab shit, it starts throwing at you. So right there and then, you can throw debris at you. Feeble mind. Blast the mind of a creature. 4d6 psychic damage. Yes. Yep, and it's... If you fail your save, the creature's intelligence charisma scores become a 1. And the creature can't cast spells, activate magic items, understand language, communicate in an intelligent way. However, it could identify friends and stuff, which is, it's very basic. But that effect alone is very cool to have that, because it makes your centralized big bad a big bad. This guy's going to go out there and do its best, and it's not a DM against players. No, it's a story, and this creature is going to use illusions here and there to draw in its prey. You look at being a hunter, and Demogorgon is a hunter. It will look for a prey. It will look for that. So understand that when you have those things to do. Give me 1 second. I apologize. I am looking at my chat. Make sure everything's good. Making sure everything is good here. So it is good. Thank you very much. So what do you all think of the Demogorgon? I know I just wanted to I wanted to talk about anything tonight, and we can talk about another creature if you want. But we're talking about the Demogorgon tonight because it is a cool character. I love playing Demogorgon. So basically, when you're the prey and you're being hunted by this very important in a combat sequence, don't just throw it out there. Wait a second, why are you fighting this big bad? Like I said, have this big bad, this Demogorgon, have him at the end of your game. If it's a one shot, have all the player characters there and have a huge battle for fun. Or, throw in the illusionary here and there. He can cast a major illusion, a major image. A feeble mind. Right then I told you I read it. Very, very deadly spell. So, if you fail your save, it's going to be very bad for you. And if you fail your save to gaze, you're going to get hit. The creature is not going to hold back. The demon's not going to hold back. He's intelligent, very intelligent, use spells, and he's going to stay there, move around, or whatever he wants to do at that moment, he'll do it, and it's going to be deadly. But when he makes himself known, this thing is massive. Huge fiend. We discussed the layer. This is all the Demogorgon. Now, the creature has advantage on all intelligent, wisdom, and charisma saving. So, if you have a nifty spell that you want to use, he has advantage. Because spells can be used for wisdom or charisma, depending on what you want to use. But if you have advantage, like it just said, you're done, folks. This guy is fantastic. The Demogorgon also has cults. Followers are typically lone killers driven by whispering voice of their master, just like it was in the show. Speaking of that, let me know what you think of the Demogorgon. Do you like using the Demogorgon? Have you ever used one? Do you have the mini? No. I use just a different creature because he can take the shape of whatever. But to have that mini on the table when you're fighting is fantastic. So those are the things that you got to look at when you're having your campaign. When you're having a story and you have this fight, make sure there's a meaning behind it. Don't just throw it in there. There's this huge story. Maybe the player characters went into a place and a swampy region, for example, and they did it by accident. Well, they got lost, and all of a sudden, the Demogorgon has a layer. I just described its layer, but let's just say that this is its layer above the abyss, not in the abyss. It's no longer there. Maybe the Demogorgon was trapped in a swamp region of some kind. Maybe Bahamut, the silver dragon decided, or the bronze dragon decided to bronze dragon. Oh, my dragon's brain fart. Sorry. Platinum dragon decided to banish him in a certain location. An undisclosed location. Banished him there. Just coming up with a story and on the fly. So your player characters are hiking along and they're trying to figure stuff out and do a survival check. They forget, they're like, oh my gosh, we're lost. And they roll into the lair of Demogorgon. And then the battle begins, or mental battle. Because what I would do, as soon as they come in, I would use the layer effects. And that's his new layer. And then I would use maybe a spell or two, a little bit of telekinesis, moving debris in the area, throwing around, have the debris smash into someone or stuff like that. Use an illusion of somebody needing help, and as they go near it, the vines, the swamp, or the trees come alive. Just have illusions like that to really mess with their mind. You're like, oh man, something's going on. Something's going on here. What are we going to do? So then they have to, they really have to work at it. And if they don't work on it, they got to work as a team. If they don't work as a team, they're all going to be discombobulated, dead, or whatever. But the Demogorgon likes to mess with your mind, likes to mess with your feelings of sorts, and I like that. Judging with the spells that it has, a lot of illusion spells. Again, you can use telekinesis to throw debris. Like I mentioned in my little scenario, the player characters are in the swamp, and you see debris just coming at you out of nowhere, and you try to figure why this is happening. And of course, you can project the image of maybe a family, or maybe a soldier, or a warrior trapped in a tree, or in the base of that tree, just kind of having his head up against the tree, arms folded. He looks like he's sleeping or something like that. So they approach, and as they approach, then you start counting, or stuff like that. However you want to do it. But don't just have him, the Demogorgon, out there. Because my biggest mistake as a dungeon master is I love to have certain minis or creatures in certain parts of the map that you're playing. And a lot of times, the players I have that like to circle around, and strategically, it just doesn't work out. So now, when I have my big bads, you don't get boxed in. You want other creatures to have a little fun too, like zombies or skeletons or whatever you want to do. Have other creatures work for the Demogorgon, and then they have this huge battle. But don't have your creature boxed in. If that happens, the creature's going to get one shot. And sometimes it happens. But, man, my allergies are horrible, and I have a little bit of a cold, so I apologize. So you have this gaze, which is the most powerful attack. And Tentacle. Tentacle does 3d12 plus 9 damage. Wow. It's a lot of damage from the tail. And they have to make a saving throw. And if they fail, remember I mentioned that reduction of the amount of equal to your damage taken? That reduction lasts until the target finishes a long rest. Remember I said that? So if you fail a Constitution save, and let's say your hit point max is reduced by the amount you're getting hit, and then equals the damage taken, if you get to 0, if you reduce to 0, man, you're toast. And that's the good thing. That's fun when you have your big bad. Your big bad is supposed to be OP. Your big bad is there to be, I am the monster of the week. I am the big bad. I am here to cause some hell. When hell broke loose, I am causing all the hell around the location. Is it a swamp? Is it a town? Is it a city? Whatever. I am there to cause havoc. And when you know this, and the player characters, they get into position. They all get in position. And they move, and all this illusionary effects start happening. And then all of a sudden, they have to turn around and say, what the hell just happened? That's when you know you have a really good combat sequence happening. I know I talked a lot about the D&D side, and I did talk, it was 11 minutes, a little bit of the literature part of the Demogorgon, which is cool. There's a lot. You can look it up on Wiki and go from there. There is a lot of information for the Demogorgon, and it is really cool to use. I enjoy it. Thank you, Reed, for voting, and the people who did vote. The other vote was a drow. Drows are my favorite as well. I have two favorites. I got Demogorgon and I have the drow. The drows are very cool to use too. And I also used the drow in campaign 2, and I did a story arc called Drow City. It was a 12-part arc in the campaign. It was really cool. I love drows. They have different abilities and they live in the Underdark. It's very cool. Oh my gosh, my nose sucks. So what else is there to say? This guy packs a punch. And True Sight, for those of you who do not know what True Sight, I know I said I wasn't going to go over it, but I will anyways. Your vision is enhanced with a specific range. Within that range, your vision pierces through the following: darkness, normal and magical darkness, invisibility, visual illusion, transformation, discern form of the creature or object you see that has been transformed by magic, ethereal plane, ethereal plane. You see the ethereal plane. So that's very cool. That being said, know that the Demogorgon, A, he packs a punch. B, the Demogorgon is scary as hell. Make him scared. Scare the hell out of your party. That's what the Demogorgon does. It is a demon, a hierarchy of demon, a high demon. So when you use it well. Maybe they found a book. Maybe they found a map. X marks the stop. X marks the spot. And they're going to go right to that X. But that X is not really a treasure. It's the big bad. So imagine all this. It's all part of your imagination, all part of what is a role-playing game. Role-playing is imagination. Role-playing is inside of you. We all have role-playing. As a little kid, if you remember, you were a little kid playing G.I. Joe or cops and robbers, and you would pretend. That's what role-playing is. You're pretending to be another creature. You're pretending to be a warrior, a paladin, a cleric, a ranger. You are imagining yourself in a different place, a different time. That is role-playing. And when you have a centralized creature like the Demogorgon, he is going to be there in a scenario that's going to scare the hell out of you. And the Demogorgon and the player characters are going to clash, and it's going to be an epic fantasy clash. I like to play with music. Have intense music in the background, and that music, it draws in the player characters, it draws in everyone, and when that happens, things start to click. The cogs are together. The more cogs you have, the more movement you get in your game. What do I mean by that? Very simple. You have a story, right? If the story is, oh, my player characters go to a swamp, they meet this little boy, the little boy is pretending. It's an illusion, but projected by the Demogorgon. It lures you in. You have this huge battle. Or you can even look at the literature part of Demogorgon. Maybe they found a mythical creature that happened to be in a swamp. They called it the demon. They called it, the enlightened one. Whatever it is. So the player characters found scrolls of stories told of this mythical beast, this creature with tentacles, stands over 50 feet tall. Whatever, stands about 10 feet tall. However you want to do it. Draw them in that way. And remember, when you do that, the more you do that, the more your players will love it. Because you could stand here, and I said this last time, when you could sit back and watch your players just have fun, talk. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? This little boy wasn't a little boy, he was an illusion. Yes, he was. He was an illusion. He was there to trick you. And, of course, this thing puts a gaze on you. You're stunned. Tail tap. Deadly. So, but, you gotta remember, players also have a stack of cards, too. They have themselves. They have their minds. They have their tactics in the game, their wit, their strategic value in the game. Player characters will work together in defeating this mythical demon. Remember to always use things accordingly. Always use what you have, your tools that you have in your backpack, whatever magic you have, how many slots you use, stuff like that. That's why when I play a game, if I'm playing like a mage, I'm not going to go ahead and cast all the time. I'm going to wait a little while. Depends. If you go to a dark room and they want to cast light, level 1 spell, or at will, there you have it. The literature part of Demogorgon, how cool. If you remember Moby Dick, how cool. The Demogorgon was mentioned. That is cool itself. Reflecting back on that book. Oh wait, that was used. So those are things that make up the story. And one of the things that I love about these type of things, like creatures or demons or whatever, they have their own unnatural effects. Their spells, the way they use them, the way they are played in combat are great. Because you can read all along, and you can say, oh, feeble mind. Feeble mind is 150 feet. So when someone's in range, you could go ahead and hit them with feeble mind. And then they have to make a saving throw. If they fail, then they're screwed. But guys, that's all I have for you tonight. I appreciate Reed. Thank you very much for the vote on YouTube, on the comment section, the poll section. I appreciate it. I'm going to have stuff like that on the chat. I'm going to have more votes. What do you like? What type of creatures you like? So we can go ahead and discuss it here. Sorry I have a cold, and I hope this doesn't trickle in tomorrow. But if it does, it does, right? Either way, you guys have a good night. Again, thank you for supporting me and so forth. Subscribe, like, get the word out. Playerole. I have a Patreon. Playerole. I also have other platforms: Kick, Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Thank you, Twitch. I have to thank you a lot. Thank you. I don't thank you as much, but I'm saying this now. I appreciate your support, and stay with us. I have a lot of content coming, and a good campaign 3. Anyways, have a good night. I will see you guys tomorrow.